Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, it's a pretty cold morning. I'd say it's barely 40 degrees out, but now that I've got the 3-inch gecko done, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna finish up taking a look at the new RunCam Hybird. I'm gonna go over some of the features and how to use the camera, and then afterwards, we're gonna have a little bit of flight footage. I gotta warn you though, I haven't been flying much over the past month. It's cold, my hands are frozen, and I've had way too many Red Bulls, so it's gonna be a miracle if I get any steady footage out of this, but hey, let's face it, it is what it is. So with that, I think the only thing we need to do is just jump in the app for this guy. I'm gonna show you how to do some of the advanced features and configuration for HD video. I got camera control working through the dedicated camera control port on my flight controller, which is totally awesome because that means that we can also change the settings in the FPV camera just by simply using the transmitter. All right, now that that's all out of the way, let's just open up the app and set up the camera so we can go fly. In order to be able to set up your camera, you're gonna have to download the app from RunCam. It's pretty simple, just head on over to their website, right on the download page, pick the camera you have, and you're gonna find the link right there. Of course, I'm gonna have a link in the description to all these resources, just to make it easy for you guys to find. But let's go launch the app and we'll take a look at things. Once you get the app open, the first thing you're gonna need to do is select the camera that you have. You're gonna see that this app supports a variety of RunCam cameras, pretty much anything that you're gonna be able to configure on the fly. In our case, we're just simply gonna pick the RunCam Hybird, and once we're there, we're gonna tap on the QR code configuration. One thing that's really cool about this camera is in order to save resources, I guess you could say, this particular camera doesn't have Wi-Fi or Bluetooth capabilities. The negative that I think is that you can't see a preview on your phone, but the positive is that you're saving the energy because you don't have to drive that board, and you're also saving the weight because you don't have a second board in here in order to control the camera wirelessly. So once we tap on QR code configuration, we're gonna be greeted by essentially the general settings of the camera itself. You're gonna see you have a record quality, loop recording, whether you want it to auto power on or not. I think in this camera, that's probably something you're gonna wanna set up, essentially so it starts recording the instant you plug the camera in. We need to set our resolution. In my case, I usually go with 1080p, 60 frames per second. But another thing that's cool is this camera can go up to 1080p, 120 frames per second, and we can also record 4K. But because my editing setup is mediocre, I'm gonna stick with the 1080p, 60 frames. You can turn the microphone on or off right here by setting the volume. You can have it low, medium, or high. I'm just gonna have it off because let's face it, when we're flying the quad, it's literally gonna sound like screaming witches, and that's not fun to listen to. Literally make your ears bleed, so I turn that off. We can set our shutter, and we can also set the ISO. Once you have all this configured to your preference, you can jump on over to the General tab, and you're gonna see we have a lot more options in here. You can turn the date stamp on or off, you can flip the video, and then we have all of our advanced video setup and configuration. Personally, I found over time, while using a GoPro, I really kind of know where I like to set this stuff. I don't know where to set it by default in the RunCam right now for a day like today. So for the most part, I'm gonna leave everything on auto. We're just gonna go from there. Hopefully the video turns out all right. Once we're satisfied with all our settings, we're just gonna simply hit apply within the app. And if this is your first time using it, you're gonna get greeted by a general set of instructions on how to apply the settings. It's actually pretty simple. I've left mine enabled in my menu, so you can see it within the screen grab. The first step is you plug the camera in to power it on. If it's set to auto record, just simply short press the power button. That'll stop it from recording, and we're ready to go to the next step. After that, you're gonna push and hold the mode button until it turns green. That means the camera is ready to accept the new configuration. And once you've done that, you can point the phone at the camera, where the camera itself will detect the QR code and establish your settings. And that's pretty much it. RunCam recommends, once those settings have been applied, unplug power from the camera, plug it back in order to make sure that all the settings have been applied. And that's literally the gist of it. You can see we do have this QR code. This can be saved to your photos. So if you have a handful of settings that you prefer, real quick and easy, just open up that code within your photos, point it at the camera, and you can change your settings just like that. So there are your basic HD settings. Like I mentioned earlier, we can use the joysticks on our transmitter via camera control to set the configuration in the FPV camera. That's kind of boring. I think a lot of you have seen that in the past, so I'm really not going to dive into it. One thing that I do recommend is you're probably going to want to turn down the sharpness within the FPV camera. A lot of these new cameras are coming with the sharpness like way overdriven. I don't know why they're doing that. I mean, you kind of end up with a compromise between a clear picture and some of that digital pixelization, looking at straight lines. That personally drives me crazy. So I literally turn down the sharpness to, again, that compromise of the camera being in focus versus that digital breakup. I think we're done with this portion. Really, I mean, what do we have left? Let's get into the air and fly this thing so I can show you what some of this HD footage looks like. I'm gonna do my best today. My hands are freezing already, but let's get airborne. Wow, so I was surprised. It's actually a pretty good turnout here today, despite the fact that it is pretty chilly. At this point, I'm frozen to the core, and I've flown all the batteries, and I'm glad that essentially I've got the Maiden out of the way and the Gecko. Overall, I think the RunCam Hybird is a pretty decent camera. It is much better than a lot of the other splits that I've tried in the past. But in this case, the FPV camera, I think, still leaves a little bit to be desired, but at least it doesn't have that horrible lag issue that a lot of them has had.
I'm gonna show you up. I'm gonna show you up.
Moving forward, I'm going to jump into the camera settings and I'm going to try to adjust the picture a little bit to see if I can get a little bit better performance out of it. But as it is right now, the light to dark transition is not fantastic, and I found that it made it quite difficult to be able to dive tight gaps where light is going to be an issue. Just a reminder that right now Banggood has their 11/11 shopping festival going on right now. If you guys are interested in saving a little bit of cash, I'm going to leave a link in the description so you can find that sale. Make sure you check out HotDog FPV, pick up yourself something awesome. I guarantee you won't be disappointed. But other than that, that's it. I'm out of here. So thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.